What if your entire future depended on a stranger showing up at your door, 1 minute before midnight? What if the only thing standing between you and losing everything was a woman you'd never met, with a heart big enough to change your life forever? This is the story of a man who needed a wife by midnight to save his daughter, and the woman who knocked at 11:59. You won't believe what happened next. Backhand index pointing right if you believe in fate, love, and second chances. Like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories, because some stories are too beautiful to miss. Caleb Harper had never believed in miracles, not since he buried his wife 5 years ago, not since he held his then 4-year-old daughter, Lily, in trembling arms and promised her that everything would be okay. Since then, everything had been far from okay. He worked double shifts as a mechanic, skipped meals so Lily could eat, and took on odd jobs just to keep their small Colorado apartment from freezing in the winter. But today was different. Today, he needed a miracle. Because by midnight, Caleb needed a wife. Not for love, not for companionship, and not for some elaborate romantic gesture. He needed a legal wife, someone who would stand by him, sign a document, and convince a judge that his home was stable enough to keep his daughter. Without that, Lily would be taken away at 9 a.m. sharp. Forever. It all started 2 weeks ago, when a social worker showed up at his door after a neighbor complained about Lily walking to school in worn-out shoes. It wasn't neglect, Caleb was just doing his best. But the system didn't see love. It saw poverty. "I'm sorry, Mr. Harper," the judge had told him. "Unless you can prove your household is stable, two-income, two-parent household, by the end of the month, we'll have no choice." Caleb had begged, cried, pleaded. But the law was firm. And now it was 11:43 p.m. Caleb sat alone on his couch, holding a ring that wasn't even real. Just a token of hope he'd found in a pawn shop earlier that day. His hands trembled. The paper beside him, the emergency marriage license, was signed by him and notarized. He just needed her. A woman. A stranger. Anyone who could stand beside him and say, "Yes, I do," and help him keep Lily. He had posted on every Craigslist ad, Facebook group, and community board with desperation oozing from every word. No responses. No one believed him. No one cared. Until he heard the knock. Tap. Tap. It was soft. Gentle. Almost shy. He glanced at the clock. 11:59. His heart stopped. He opened the door slowly, almost afraid it was just the wind or a cruel trick from the universe. But she was there. Wet from the rain. Shivering. A woman in a long beige coat with wild brown curls falling over her shoulders, mascara smudged under her eyes. She looked broken, but kind. "I saw your post," she said softly. "I don't know why I came, but I think I'm supposed to be here." Caleb stared. "Are you serious?" She nodded, looking unsure. "My name is Claire. Claire Bennett. I don't need anything from you. I'm not here for money. I've had a really rough night. And your post felt like someone calling me. Like maybe, you're not the only one who needs saving tonight." Caleb choked back tears. "Come in. Please." They sat at the kitchen table. Claire's fingers wrapped around the mug of warm cocoa Caleb offered her, trembling slightly. "I was supposed to get married today," she whispered. Caleb's heart twisted. "What happened?" She looked down. "I walked away. At the altar. My fiancé was controlling, and I ignored it for years. But today I couldn't do it. I couldn't give my life to someone who would never see me." Caleb stared at her. She didn't know it, but she had just given his life back. And then he told her everything. About Lily. About the court order. About the ticking clock. Claire listened, wide-eyed, never interrupting. And then she did something Caleb never expected. She reached for the pen on the table, and signed the form. "Why would you do this?" he asked, his voice cracking. Claire smiled, tears brimming. "Because maybe, you and I were both standing on the edge of losing everything. And maybe, helping each other is the only way we survive." Caleb couldn't speak. He slid the ring onto her finger, awkward, clumsy, and completely unreal. Yet something about it felt right. As the clock struck midnight, they looked at each other, two strangers bound by desperation, pain, and a shared hope that maybe this strange agreement would become something more. The next morning, they stood before the judge. Married. Legal. And Lily held Claire's hand like she'd known her forever. But that was just the beginning. Claire never meant to stay. It was supposed to be one night. One act of kindness. One signed paper that would keep a little girl in the arms of her father. But when Lily wrapped her arms around Claire that morning after court and whispered, "Are you my new mommy?" Claire didn't know how to answer. She moved in temporarily, just until the court checks cleared and the social worker confirmed everything. That was the agreement. But with each passing day, something strange began to happen. Claire began to smile again. Lily would sneak into her room each morning with messy hair and sleepy hugs. Caleb would cook pancakes on Saturdays, humming tunes off-key while Claire laughed in the kitchen. They watched movies as a fake family, but nothing about it felt fake anymore. Claire took Lily shopping and bought her shoes, the kind with lights that blinked with every step. Lily danced in the aisles. Caleb watched from the entrance, tears in his eyes. "She hasn't danced like that in a long time," he whispered. Claire looked at him. "She's brave. Like her dad." But it wasn't all smooth. One night, Claire stood on the porch, phone to her ear. Her ex was calling again, apologizing, begging her to come back. "You don't belong in some broken man's mess," he said. "You belong with me. In Manhattan. In a penthouse." She hung up. And when she turned, Caleb was there. "You heard that?" she asked, ashamed. He nodded. "You do belong somewhere better. But I was hoping, maybe that better could be here. With us." She looked at him. "Caleb, this was never supposed to be real." "But it feels real," he said. "And maybe that's enough." That night, for the first time, they kissed. It wasn't passionate or fiery. It was soft. Slow. Healing. The kiss of two broken people learning to be whole again. Weeks turned into months. The social worker returned for a final visit, smiled warmly, and declared the home more loving than most I've seen in years. Claire's name was on the lease now. And Caleb? He had a small ring in his pocket. This time, not from a pawn shop. It was real. One evening, under the stars, he knelt beside the swing where Claire sat pushing Lily gently. "Claire Bennett Harper," he said softly. "You married me to save my daughter. But you ended up saving me, too. I love you. Will you marry me, this time, for real?" Claire gasped. And nodded, tears flowing. "Yes. 1,000 times, yes." Lily squealed, wrapping her arms around both of them. "Does this mean we're a real family now?" Caleb smiled. "We've been a real family since the moment she knocked at our door." Glowing star, if you believe in destiny, love, and the power of kindness from strangers, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories. Because sometimes, the right person shows up, just in time.